And here they are. Is it Victor? No, I think. Yes, it is. Okay, we start things off with one of the best spells in the deck. This patchwork, as we have mentioned, he's playing, of course, a Fiendsmith package, but also quite some surprises, which I am wishful that we are gonna see in action from Victor.
Yeah, really curious to see the starting lineup he goes for usually. Here we see the Sword Knight and...
Oof, and the Fuwalos is picked up in the main deck. Do we have a response? Because this could be quite brutal. I think it's the... Yeah, definitely one of the worst cards that you could be facing off against. And yeah, I think it just resolved.
And you can tell that Victor was not happy with it at all, shaking his head, but see if he finds a way. And there's a Veiler as well. Okay.
Oof. Yeah, because I was about to say, if you do get to the bird format, then... Okay, we are chaining. Oh, that's actually quite strong. Because this is one of those decks that can take the approach of just passing if hit by Fuwalos and not commit too many summons. Indeed, though, we are gonna go for Aerial Eater. A card we have seen become extremely popular in Ubel as of lately. Can be quite effective in this deck as well. It's not a surprise that Salamangreat still is relying on playing a very high count of entraps. I think he's on 20 plus. 9, 12, 15, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, almost 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close to 20, yeah. But now I think the pressure is mostly on Victor, because he needs to understand how to deal effectively with this Fuwalos. Ever since it was released, obviously there have been a lot of attention on the card, but it's unclear whether the impact was, I guess, as large as it was predicted by many players. It seems as if, you know, Duelist really found the way around this card, and Victor decides to still special summon more.
I think he just understood he needs to commit. Otherwise, we would have seen a pass for sure, but doesn't seem like it. And it's just, you know, this Fuwalos is giving Andrea so many cards. And also plays the Nibiru, so there may be a scenario in which, you know, he draws it.
Yeah, this polymerization though makes sense. You give your opponent one card, but in return you get 3, essentially, because he's gonna search so much. And he gets to resolve, so he will get a patchwork which doesn't do much. Because he's out of edge imps, actually, but might as well just get it out of the deck. And yeah, there is the patchwork, and there is also one of the last remaining Chimera cards, which is the total. So we do have double Chimera fusion. I think another poly maybe, although it's a different
Yeah, he has another
artwork.
poly, the Chimera fusion.
And the patchwork. So yeah, it's pretty much all in. Now he's gonna get another monster, so he has the full setup. He obviously has the Sword Knight in the grave as an additional interruption. But yeah, I'm just curious to see whether he still wants to commit a little bit more to the field, or if he's just gonna pass and mostly rely on this Chimera fusion. Yeah, makes a lot of sense to me. Gonna set 3 cards and pass. So yeah, as understandably, you know, Andrea is just reading the only real interruption from the graveyard available, which is his Mirror Sword Knight. But as you predicted, here comes the rock. Nibiru. This deck does not always play, you know, and commits to this many summons, but yeah, this is just absolutely brutal.
And I think this is the advantage of playing a deck such as Salamangreat, as mentioned. You can afford to play a lot of different hand traps. And here, I think, not gonna be easy for Victor, honestly, especially because he was basically forced to commit this kind of plays. And let's see if he has anything else going on. Just asking his opponent for cards in hand. I think it's 5. Yeah.
And yeah, Salamangreat of Fire is sniped by Victor. Now that we are in the end phase. And yeah, I think he's just asking for a recap on all the relevant effects in the grave. But finally, it is Andrea's turn. He knows that he has to deal with the Chimera Fusion face down. But what he doesn't know is there is a second copy, I believe, face down as well.
Okay, he activates, I think in the draw phase or standby phase, not sure, to special summon one from the graveyard. What I like about the Chimera deck is that you have a lot of recycle options,
Yeah.
and the more you recycle, the more resources you get from your deck as well. And it's one of those decks which we have seen over the last year as well, which is very difficult to play against, especially because you're not so sure where to activate your interruptions on. And still, I mean, although the Fabulos was activated from Andrea, still Victor has a lot of cards. And
yeah, here comes the second Salamangreat of Fire from the end. A really solid starter from the of the deck. Can get you pretty much what you need. Gazal. And yeah, just allows you to push into more and more plays. As of lately, he's not using any access code package, relying on a lot of free OVs, but we'll see whether he's able to go for the Pyro Phoenix later on. And here comes Gazelle. Again, nothing from Victor. He knows he has to be extremely patient with whatever he does. And here comes the Spinny.
I think he's not activated the building, so he must have hard drew the Sanctuary.
And finally, there comes the first Chimera Fusion, going most likely for the pop. And yeah, there it comes. Guardian Chimera, what a card. Using 2 from field and 1 from hand, allowing him to destroy 2 cards and then draw 1. I think it's also protected because there is a polymerization in the graveyard, so cannot be targeted. And, you know, 3300 is no joke. And here comes one of the tech cards in the deck, the one-offs, which is these Diabells.
And gets rid of the Billings and the Gazelle as well. And I think Victor has also 5 cards in hand, so brilliantly executed from him. Also gets rid of another Nibiru, and with 5 cards in hand from Victor, honestly, I mean, maybe risky, but Andres left with 2 cards in hand, so this is just show how powerful the Chimera deck is in recycling and having a lot of different options. I think it's the Weasel, right?
Yeah, he gets the Weasel, which is just another extender at this point. He's maxing out on this consistency card with triple silent mining. And yeah, here comes the Weasel. Essentially represents 2 bodies because you can get it back from the graveyard later on.
Another Spinny here, and honestly, although that Fugalos hurt a lot, the thing is, Victor has a lot of different interruptions, and you can tell here he's just having a think whether to allow this or not, but also we need to understand where does Andrea want to go. Like, because here comes the Stalio.
And here could come down either the second fusion or... yeah, he's really thinking about it, Victor, ready to pull the trigger. And he does activate the second copy of Chimera Fusion. Goes on to resolve, yeah. So gets rid of some of these monsters he just previously searched with the Diabells. And finally, yeah, access the Baphomet.
Yeah, the Baphomet is very nice, especially because he can send one base Fiend or Illusion from the deck to the graveyard, and you can also banish this card from the graveyard to basically bring back one of his banished monster.
Now the Sword Knight goes to negate the Stalio. And the pressure is back on Andrea to figure out how to proceed from here on. And I think he has seen enough. Victor, even through... Here they come, and let's see if Andrea is going to be able to resolve some combos. I mean, Chimera is known for not being quite heavy on the end chops. So he should be fine. And goes to normal summon the Gazelle, which is not ideal, but I mean, works out. Yeah, this start is pretty much the good old Salamangreat start. And we do see the Charmy, but we have an Ash. I'm not surprised. After siding, he has all, 7 possible ways of dealing with the cards. So, I mean, you can see Victor just smiling a little bit. Well, it is to be expected. And yeah, here he has pretty much what he needs. He is using the Rage in the deck, so he can, it's also one of those decks where maybe you don't set up the most threatening field, but the really good thing about starting with an Ash Blossom on the Mulcharmy, if you play Salamangreat, is that you get back that Ash with the Wolf the same turn, and that's really, really strong.
Here, usual stuff from the Salamangreat, getting the Sanctuary with the Bailings. And I think we will soon see the Silent Wolf being summoned from Andrea. Yeah,
yeah, and there it is. The Wolf in Rome get an additional boost. Being the only football team that we have. Considering tonight is a special occasion for fans here in Rome. And yeah, as expected, this is what he is gonna go for. He can special summon the Gazelle, although he has already used the on-field effect, and can get back the Ash if he wants from the graveyard. Yeah. Now we see the Weasel, and oftentimes you can use this quite nicely to give your opponent afterwards a monster, and then take advantage of both Princess effect and, drawing additional cards, which is quite a nice interaction for the Salamangreat deck.
And here, Victor just witnessing Andrea taking his time to combo off.
Yeah, here comes the Raging Phoenix. And yeah, this is the nice interaction we were mentioning, where you give your opponent a monster, and now he's able to get back the counter trap, essentially building his own Solemn Judgment. And as it was special summon, you can, which is quite rare, activate the princes on your own first turn. And this is the typical Salamangreat line where you destroy both, and then you can still link climb, making this Pyro Phoenix. And seems like that's it. So he has summoned all of the Salamangreat links. And finally passes back to Victor, who is in a very rough spot because he has to deal with Rage, Ash Blossom as well, which we know of. And then the Princess in the graveyard. So definitely a little bit of an upfield battle at the moment. So we could have a quick one, but never count Victor off. Okay, here comes Apprentice trying to search. Andrea is having a think. Ooh, but we see a draw and lock, which, by the way, yeah, is from the side deck from Andrea. And yeah, I think Victor has seen enough. I mean, it would have the field made by the other, so I gotta give the advantage to Victor, but I mean, he's gonna have to navigate through a lot of entraps, most likely. And we start things off. Let's see with what. Okay, same as game one, same response, and Victor does have the Ash this time around, though. I mean, he didn't look too happy, and then he dropped the Ash, which I think Andrea is not gonna be too happy about.
I was like, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was not super disappointed, honestly, but I mean, he had the Ash and it was like, yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna activate it, no?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oof, and we do have the patchwork as well, so this is so strong, and obviously the Fugalos is a lot better in this kind of decks, because if it resolved, it then draws you a lot of those other entraps that you can use. This way around, whatever Andrea is gonna throw at his opponent, it's gonna be one less card that he has in hand, and we have seen how good Chimera is at just managing resources, and that's, yeah, a lot of trouble coming his way.
This seems a very good start from Victor here, and I don't think there's even a draw lock from Andrea's side. And look at this. I mean, this is what we were talking about before. Like, not only Chimera puts a lot of pressure into your opponent, but at the same time, like, I mean, ooh, here we also see the...
And yes, finally, I've been waiting for this. We do see another package that is included, which is Evil Heroes, which allows you to kind of bridge into the Fiendsmith, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like this, honestly. With just sending it with the Sinister Necrom here, it just access to the full combo, and it looks as if Andrea's allowing Victor to combo off without any interruptions. There's also the core, which is being discarded, and looking very good for Victor, honestly. And it's also quite unfortunate for Andrea not having any other hand traps, considering the amount of he's playing.
Yeah. I mean, we could see a Nibiru as we did in game one, but it didn't really help at all, because once you get to the Chimera fusion, you have a way to access the beast, and yeah, it's a lot of trouble. Seems like Victor had been debating a lot about what to summon, but in the end goes for this Caesar, cutting off the Nibiru option as well.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense, especially saying it after game 1. You don't really want to risk it out. And with the Caesar being on the field here, it just prevents his opponent's activation. Let's see how he decides to go on with this.
Okay, goes to activate the Chimera fusion, the first of this game. And this is still so many resources coming his way. About 30 minutes remain, which should be enough to play this game out. Hopefully, at least. It does represent a little bit of concern for Andrea to just try and not only break the field, but then have enough to not losing time in the subsequent play. And I think I spot a droplet in the end from Victor too, which, you know, can help, although it's a going second card, you know, can be quite tricky. And today has been a very odd, you know, day of Yu-Gi-Oh! Meaning that we had a lot of attack and defense modifiers matter, so maybe Droplet will be relevant more for his shrink-like effect rather than the negation. Yeah, here comes the Magnum, allowing you to get even more card advantage. Yeah, I mean, just the card in the bottom should stay the same. Yeah, the card on the bottom should stay the same, because accidentally Victor picked up 2 cards instead of one, but I mean, they're just shuffling the deck. So yeah, I mean, they're just gonna quickly fix it, because the card in the bottom of the deck, as you can see, has to be the polymerization that was shuffled. But I mean, nothing too serious. They're quickly fixing it, and then the judge is gonna shuffle the deck for them. And that has been fixed. Yeah. So now Victor is just explaining the relevant effects to his opponent and ending on what is by far a much better field than game 1. So I'm really afraid if I am a friend of Andrea. I would be afraid. We also see these nice Diabells, which kinda is a pseudo anti-spell fragrance. It forces you to set spells before activating him, and then destroys one when you do. So, you know, it's a very annoying card to deal with. And yeah, this is the case. So as you can see, he's gonna set one, and then that's gonna be destroyed. Great bluff by Andrea. with the Rage. Oh, but the Fiendsmith in Paradise, wow! The hard-drawn synergy is just so good. Yeah, this is so much. Yeah. Too many interruptions, I think, from Victor. So, although here he's trying his best, he has a bestial, like the I King Caesar can just negate it. There is no way that you can chain any spells because the Diabells is there. So, yeah, this is very rough.
Wow, I mean, look at this. This is impressive, honestly.
Yeah, it's definitely scary. It's a very oppressive field. And I think he has used the
Gazelle.
also the Gazelle. Wow. I mean, only a couple cards remain from Andrea. Sets one. Could be a spell. And so Victor is thinking whether he wants to activate the fusion. Doesn't seem like it. And I think he has passed. And yeah, that's pretty much it. As long as he deals some damage and just calls time out of the equation, there are 8+ minutes remaining. And yeah, Victor is perfectly sailing through this.
Yeah, very impressive stuff here from Victor, and he's just going here. Let's see, to put enough damage on the field before declaring battle phase, and yeah, brings in the Lacrima.
Yeah, just call it a day at this point. And yeah, I think he's just moving to the battle phase, swinging. There is a Salamangreat circle activated, which is also, funny enough, super anti-synergy for the Diabells, because you cannot activate